Hello everyone, welcome to VMware Arena YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to teach you what is the need of a VMware Workstation, how it is going to help us, and how to install VMware Workstation on your Windows machine, let's say Windows 7 or Windows 10. Okay, let's get started. Let me explain. So this is your, imagine this is your Windows desktop or your Windows laptop. Okay, please do adjust with my drawings. Okay, I'm just using my mouse. So imagine you have your laptop and you installed a Windows 10 operating system. Okay, so operating system will be installed on your in your laptop, right? So on top of the operating system, you install an application such as Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, or any softwares like Java, like .NET, anything is fine. So you install applications and use it, right? Similarly, if you want on another operating system installed on your laptop, let's say like any Unix player, let's say Ubuntu. So if you want to install on Windows and Ubuntu on the same laptop, it's possible you can use a dual operating system, so you can reboot and switch between the operating systems, right? So it's a dual boot configuration. Everyone is aware about the dual boot configurations. So this is like a traditional way of installing multiple operating system on a single computer, right? So you have to switch back to Windows, reboot and switch back to Windows, use it, and if you want to use the Ubuntu, you have to restart and boot it with your Ubuntu, right? What if you want to install a multiple operating system? Let's say I want to install on another any like Windows servers, let's say Windows 2016 or Windows 2019, any operating system on your laptop additional to your guest OS, right? Let's say Windows 2019, and you started learning Windows 2019. You want to deploy an Active Directory, you want to deploy file server, or you want to learn any like Active Directory stuff, or installing any you are doing an POC for installation of any software, or you are developing a code for your Linux, or you are running a web server demo, all these things. Let's say if you want to install Red Hat Linux and other operating like multiple operating systems, right? And so it's using multiple dual boot is not a solution in this case, because we cannot use multiple operating system in the dual boot, right? It's only supported two boot. Let's explain how can we achieve that. Okay, so imagine the same laptop. You have your laptop or desktop system, and you have your operating system installed on it. Okay, so you have your operating system. Let's say you have your Windows 10 or Windows 7, any of the Windows operating system you have installed. Okay, imagine your operating system is installed on your laptop. It comes with on factory. Okay, so you install Windows 10. So you want to create a multiple um, you want to use a multiple operating system on your laptop. You already have Windows 10 installed. This time we are not going for an dual boot option. This time I'm going to explain how can we use or install multiple operating system in top of your Windows 10, which is installed in your laptop. To achieve that, we can use virtualization software, something like VMware Workstation or Pro, which is a paid software, or you can use an virtual box or free offering from VMware, such as VMware Player. So it's like installing any software on your Windows machine. We have to download the installer file and start installing these softwares on your Windows 10 laptop. So once we install the software on your laptop, so we were able to create a virtual machine. The virtual machine is nothing but, imagine in this situation, the virtual machine is something like a container. Means it's not a container terminology I'm talking about. Let's imagine it's like a multiple boxes you keep inside a big box, and you create a multiple boxes, and you install a various operating system inside the uh, particular boxes. This is something like you are partitioning your laptop into multiple hardware partitions where you can install operating systems. So you can install, so I install a VMware workstation, I have created multiple virtual machine, I installed Windows, let's say Windows Server 2019, or sorry, it's 2019. Okay, Windows Server 2019 is installed. You can install a Mac OS, you can install a Red Hat, you can install Windows Server 2016, you can install an Ubuntu, you can install an CentOS. There are various options you can install on top of your Windows 10 machine. So let's say I have Windows installed Windows 2016, the another machine I install Red Hat Linux. So this machine I will install Ubuntu. On this machine I'm going to install CentOS. Even I can install a Mac OS on one of those virtual machine. Let's say I'm installing Mac OS here. So this is something. What else is spinning, man? Okay, let's say Kali Linux. Okay, so these are all the operating system I have installed it. We can also install the separate application, run a web server or Active Directory on your Windows machine. You run a web server on Red Linux, or you develop a custom code, or you work on some of the security things on your Kali Linux. Everything is possible on yeah, with like just with your single laptop installed with Windows 10 or any Windows or Linux operating system. So in top of that, we can install VMware Workstation, create multiple virtual machine. Inside the virtual machine, we can install an operating system, and we can use for our testing and purposes. So this VMware Workstation, VirtualBox, VMware Player are all called as Type 2 virtualization. So Type 2 virtualization softwares needs an underlying operating system such as Windows or Linux operating system. So in top of that, we will install this Type 2 hypervisors softwares as a software. In top of that, we create a virtual machine. There is another type of virtualization which is type 1 virtualization, which is nothing but ESXi is a market leader. We have Hyper-V. We can have a Citrix Zen server. All these things are type 1 hypervisor, which directly installs on your hardware. So in that case, we don't need a Windows 10 operating system here. So we can directly install ESXi Hyper-V on your laptop machine. So we don't need a, so we directly install it on the laptop. In top of that, we create an virtual machines and install multiple operating system. So this is let's talk about what are the different options of VMware Workstation. Let's type VMware Workstation. So there are two versions. One is VMware Workstation Player, which is a free offering from VMware. So you can download VMware Workstation Player, click on VMware Workstation Player. And another offering is VMware Workstation Pro, which is unpaid software. Um, so VMware Workstation Pro have a lot of different options. Let's talk about each one of them. So VMware Player, as I said, it's like if you want to create a single virtual machine on top of your Windows or Linux PC, we can use VMware Workstation Player. It have a basic, and it's free for personal and home use, all these things, non-commercial purposes. So VMware Player is as available for Windows and Linux version, and Workstation Pro is, as I said, if you want to create multiple operating systems as a virtual machine on top of your Windows machine, we can use VMware Workstation, and we can use VMware Workstation. There are a lot of options, such as if you have a integration with vSphere, we can use. There are a lot of many features are available. So to download, click on download now. So VMware Workstation Pro also available for Windows and Linux version. Um, Windows and Linux version. So this is my Windows machine. Let me download it for my Windows. So okay, I have downloaded it for a Windows machine. So let's start the installation here. Right click, open or run as administrator, whatever is okay. So the installation is started. The installation is similar to other software which we install on your. Okay, the installation Workstation Pro wizard has been started. So click on next, accept the end user license agreement, click next. So this is asking me to enable enhanced keyboard driver to get a better performance on better interaction when you're interacting with the operating system inside your virtual machine. Click yes. So I will select the option for check for product updates and startup. If you want to join customer experience to send data to VMware, you can select that option. Click on install. So installation will start. It will install multiple components such as VMware related drivers, network related drivers to enable the network communication for virtual machines. It copies the files to your local laptop. Start the installation. Create shortcut. So whatever the components which is needed for VMware Workstation will get installed on this. So as I said, it's installing virtual network drivers now. Um, yeah, so it takes few minutes. Since I select enhanced keyboard, this needs an reboot of my system. So let's talk about the installation. Okay, so removing the backup files. Yes, the installation is completed. So installation is completed. You can click on license if you have a license, or we can go ahead with the 30 days trial period. So for okay, installation is completed. I have restarted my laptop. Let's open up VMware Workstation Pro here. Okay, so basically when first time we open it, ask for license, or we can go out with the VMware Workstation evolution. So we have a 30 days evolution free. We can make use of VMware Workstation evolution period. Okay, so this is my VMware. So this is a VMware Workstation Pro home screen. So basically, we are in the evolution period, and it says evolution ends in 30 days. We can create a new virtual machine. We can open a virtual machine if you have exported it from somewhere. So let's talk about how to create a virtual machine in VMware Workstation. So there are two options. One is typical, and another one is a custom option. So typical is it'll be we can create a virtual machines in just few steps. It don't ask you for multiple option. It took the default option. So we can, if you have an ISO image, we can select the installer ISO image and attach to the ISO image. So we can install the operating system inside the virtual machines using the ISO images. So I think I don't have any ISO images. So let's skip this. I'm not going to install any operating system here. Okay. So if you have anything, or we can select the option, I will install operating system later. So in the guest operating system, we have to select which operating system we want to install. If you select Microsoft Windows, there are many options like Windows 2016, 2008, all these things like Windows 7, 10. If you select the Linux operating system, there are a lot of support for many operating systems like Oracle Linux, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, SUSE, CentOS, other Linuxes, and other operating system as well. FreeBSD, all these things, Solaris will be listed out here. So if it is not listed, you can select other operating system and you can get installed. You can, it's also support installing VMware ESXi as a virtual machines inside the VMware workstation. If you have, you can select VMware ESXi. And I'm going to select VMware Windows Server 2016 as an operating system. Specify the name for this virtual machine. So let me specify something like Windows VM01. So this is the location where you want to save the virtual machine files. So basically, virtual machine is nothing but a group of files. It contains a configuration file and disk file. From the configuration, it opens up and it start up the virtual machine using the disk attached. So this is the option to specify the disk size, like hard disk size for your virtual machine, VMware virtual machines, which we are going to create. So there are two options: split virtual disk into multiple files. This will be easy if you are copying the virtual machine to a different laptop, but I would always recommend to store as a single file for better performance. So it's a typical option. It gives option to select the customize the hardware. We can increase the memory for this virtual machine so that the from your laptop this if you imagine if your laptop is having 16 GB of memory, we are allocating 4 GB, so this 4 GB will be taken out from your laptop and given to but it's not completely reserved based on operating system installation. Okay, so similarly we can select the number of processor for these virtual machines. So this is another option, Intel VT EPT. So if you are installing ESXi or Hyper-V server on inside the VMware workstation, so you can enable this option so that in top of ESXi we can create a virtual machines and we can use a virtualization software. So it also supports your local physical drive. For imagine if you have your laptop with a CD drive, you can attach the CD drive. You can use options such as physical drive so that the whatever CD you placed it in CD DVD you placed it in your laptop will be automatically detected. If you have an operating system in CD DVD format, you can use it, or we can use an ISO file. So network adapter, there are multiple options in network connection. We'll not talk about that. So it talks about USB controller, display, all these things. Okay. So we can also add additional network adapter and other hardware such as by clicking on add and finish. Okay. So I'm not going to add anything. Click on cancel and click on close. So click on finish to create the virtual machines. The virtual machine will be created. So if you have your ISO image attached, you can power on this virtual machine using the play button. So once you power on, it boots up the virtual machine. If you have your ISO image attached to this virtual machine, it automatically starts the booting into your ISO image or CD drive, similar to how you install Windows operating system on your laptop, right? So there are power options. We can shut down the operating system, like restart, how you do from your laptop, power on, power off, everything is possible here. So I'm powering off, so I have part of this. Okay. So I said there are two options in creating a virtual machine. One is typical and another one is custom. Let's go back to the home and create an virtual machine using custom option. Here it gives a lot of option to customize the virtual machine. This is on hardware compatibility because each version of hardware compatibility will have a maximum memory and CPU support and other features, right? I'm not going to install operating system. Let's choose Windows 2016. I'm specifying a virtual machine here. I'm specifying the virtual machine name here. Select the directory to store your virtual machine. So I already have a virtual machine here. So I'm creating another folder called WinVM2 in this name so that all the virtual machine file related to this particular virtual machine will be saved in that folder. Okay. So it asks me the firmware type, whether it is BIOS or UEFI BIOS type. Select the number of processors. Select the memory for the virtual machine. Select the network connection type. There are multiple network using bridged networking, NAT address translations. If you want to use internet inside the virtual machine, we can use NAT option. So it uses the same as in your laptop and goes out. And we can also use host only networking so that if you have 10 virtual machines inside your laptop, so they can only talk within your laptop, so the traffic will not go out from your laptop. All the virtual machines will be accessible inside the laptops, right? So that is the host only options. So we'll talk about this in detail in other videos. So we'll talk about each of these options. Okay, so I think we'll go with host only networking in this. Click on next. It asks us what is the type of SCSI controller to attach to your disk, which is it also provides a recommended option. What type of disk you want to add? It is like ID disk, SCSI, SATA disk. All these thing options can be created here. So if you want to use an existing virtual hard disk, if you are saving, you can select that option, or you can also use your physical disk as a hard disk for your virtual machine. So I'm selecting a new hard disk option. So specify the disk options, and another one is allocate all disk space. Now imagine if you are selecting a 60 GB hard disk, if you select that option, allocate all disk space now, it completely carve out 60 GB from your laptop. If you don't select it, it will be used based on your operating system consumption. Imagine if your operating system only consumes 2 GB out of that 60 GB, only 2 GB will be taken out from your laptop. Okay. So this is a disk file. A disk file is will be saved in .vmdk file machine. So our WinVM2 operating virtual machine is created. Let's open up the folder where this WinVM2 virtual machine is stored. So as I said, virtual machine is a combination of multiple files such as virtual machine configuration. This is the heart of your virtual machine. All the configurations which we specify during virtual machine creation will be stored in the virtual machine configuration. Another one is a disk file, which is a VMDK file. We specified the hard disk size, right? So this will be also saved in the same folder. Let's open up the configuration file and see what is there. We can open up with a WordPad or Notepad, any like a text reading software. So let me open up with WordPad. So it shows all the configuration, what type of hardware version I'm using, what type of SCSI controller, how many disks I attached, what type of CD drive, how many network adapters, what kind of network option I choose. Is that a floppy device present, USB device present? All this configuration, memory, CPU, all the configuration will be stored here. Okay, so based on this configuration, the virtual machine will make use of other devices and your hard disk and to run the operating system inside a virtual machine. Okay, so we have created virtual machines, and we understand how to what is the need of VMware Workstation. We also understand how to install VMware Workstation on your Windows machine, and we also understand how to create a virtual machine on your VMware Workstation. I hope this is informative for you. Please do subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon to get the latest updates on new videos. Thank you so much. Be safe. Bye bye.